Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. On today's episode, we are going to talk about this Fleetwood Mac Rumours. Came out in 1977. This is a 1980 repress on Nautilus Records. I've got listed as VG Plus all the way around. This is Nautilus Records. See where it says Super Disc. Listen to the difference. So this is a repress. Nautilus Records did represses of certain albums, not a whole lot, and they had something they called Super Disc, which is kind of like a MoFi pressing, something like that, like an early MoFi. This also had this cool insert that came with it. This is a poster that it's listed as a poster. When you look at the thing, it's basically just a 4-page insert. I guess you could hang this up on the wall as a poster if you would like. The inside, the other side has lyrics and a picture of the band in the center. And so that's on as the insert, and the record itself. It is Warner Brothers is the got the Warner Brothers logo, but it says Super Disc on there. It's got the Nautilus logo there in the corner. So, like I said, I got this listed as VG to near mint. The record is shiny and beautiful. The thing is about these Super Disc records. This is the only one I have, but I tell you what, I wish all of my pressings sounded as good as this one did. It sounds fucking amazing. Whatever they were doing when they repressed this record, however they pressed it, however they mix it, they sound amazing. These Super Discs sound amazing. You can hear everything. It is mixed so well. First time I played it, this is one of the records I found. I found this in the dumpster with all the other ones. This was in there with that. So that's how I ended up with it. I wouldn't have bought this pressing because this Super Disc pressing, Super Disc, there's his balls right there, goes anywhere from $35 to $150 is the price on these Super Disc repress. You can buy the original one from $77 cheaper than that. Mine, when I was looking on Discogs with the conditions and I have all the inserts, I would say it's going to be $100. You know, if I was going to sell this, I would ask $100 for it. But like I said, it sounds amazing, and I wish all my records sounded as good as this. What can you say about this album? I mean, Rumours is the Fleetwood Mac album. I mean, it is one of the greatest albums of all time. It's Secondhand News, Dreams, Don't Stop, Go Your Own Way, The Chain, You Make Lovin' Fun. All those songs, Gold Dust Woman, all those songs were hits. You know, and this is them back. I mean, look how beautiful these guys are. Just a wonderful band all the way together. Look how young Stevie Nicks is. This is, you know, like I said, 1977. This is a long time ago, but this album is a classic all the way through. If you don't own this album, what the hell's wrong with you? It sold 40 million copies. They're everywhere. You should be able to, I'm assuming it's been repressed hundreds of times, but you can get your hands on the Super Disc version that's in good shape for a decent price. I mean, if you want to spend the $150 on it, go for it. It is amazing. It sounds amazing. This press sounds amazing. And this album is an essential album. I mean, we should all have a copy of this, whether we're into metal or country or whatever. This album right here should be in everybody's collection. This is one of those, you know, you hear these lists that people do of essential records. And I've thought about doing one what I consider essential in my collection. This album will definitely be on that list when I decide to do that show. That's all you got to say about it. It is Fleetwood Mac, the greatest Fleetwood Mac album they've ever put out for sure, and one of the probably greatest rock albums of all time. All those songs were hits, and all the songs that aren't hits on there are still great songs. And Fleetwood Mac, you know, they sound great. The way they orchestrate their music and the vocals being shared between Christine McVie and Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham. It's just wonderful. It's a wonderful album. Like I said, it sold 40 million copies. You can find them pretty much anywhere. Maybe not these Super Disc ones, but you can find a copy of Rumors pretty much at any record store you want, probably for $15-$20, depending on condition. Like I said, if you want one of these Nautilus Super Disc, it's going to run you a lot more money. As an audiophile, if you're an audiophile guy, which I am not necessarily an audiophile guy, but if you are an audiophile guy and you want perfect sound, get this Super Disc. Fleetwood Mac, what do you got to say? For me, my main thing with Fleetwood Mac, I remember being that age when you're 12 or 13 years old and Stevie Nicks was doing her solo stuff. And when I saw her doing like Edge of 17 and things like that, I was in love. I fell in love with Stevie Nicks. And, I'm 12 or 13 years old and she's so gorgeous at the time. And she still is gorgeous. And, her hippie attitude and everything else, I was just enamored with her. So I started listening to some of that earlier stuff, of course, which had always been around. I mean, this album's from 77. Fleetwood Mac's been around since, the late 60s or early 70s. They've been around my entire life. So, you can't remember the first time you heard Fleetwood Mac because they've always been there. They've always been on the radio or whatever. They were just one of those bands you grew up that you were hearing, but you weren't really paying attention to them until you started distinguishing what was what as you got older. And as I got older and Stevie Nicks is doing her solo stuff and she's doing Stop Dragging My Heart Around with Tom Petty, that's when I first saw Stevie Nicks, the MTV era, early 80s, and I was in love with that girl. She was so beautiful. I had pictures of her on my wall, and the hippie thing. And, being a metal guy at that time, she didn't really fit the look of all the metal girls. I had pictures of Lita Ford and that type of stuff and Vixen on my walls. And then I had Stevie Nicks, even though she was from like a generation ahead. And I love her voice and I love Christine's voice and Lindsey Buckingham's voice. So to me, Fleetwood Mac is just a great band, full of talent all the way around. I have some earlier Fleetwood Mac also that was found in that dumpster thing, which is, I have a couple of them that are pre Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, and those albums sound great also, but a lot of people aren't aware of that, of what Fleetwood Mac was beforehand, unless you're a huge fan. And I really like that stuff too, and we'll do those albums at some time later. But this one came up on the list of what I should listen to. I was letting Discogs do the random thing, and this one came up. And I remember the first time I played this copy after I found it in the dumpster, and I played it, and I was blown away by the sound quality of this pressing. So it is definitely worth the money. If you're an audiophile, spend the $150 and buy the Super Disc pressing. 5 out of 5 stars. It's Fleetwood Mac. It's Rumors. It's one of the greatest albums of all time. There's not much more to be said about that, but this pressing that I own sounds amazing. If all my records sounded as good as this Super Disc done, I would be super fucking happy. And I can consider myself an audiophile. I am not an audiophile. I don't have the ear for that. I know what I like when it comes to pressings, and I do like sitting and listening and seeing how things are mixed and making sure there's separations between basses and guitars and vocals and everything else. And nothing tops this record. None of my old ones, none of my new ones. They all, I don't know what these guys were doing, what Nautilus Records was doing at the time back in 1980. Yeah, this is a 1980 repress. I don't know what their process was, but it worked. That's all I got to say about that. So go ahead and pick this up. You won't be disappointed. If you have copies of this and you're looking for a better sounding copy, buy this Nautilus copy Super Disc. All right, thanks. That's it for me. Fleetwood Mac, 5 out of 5 stars. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you